Good evening. My name is Sam Obafemi. I am coming to you on behalf of Thrc, Sam Obafemi Behavioral Change Academy. And we are happy, excited to have you join us today on the Human Response Code. So we have about 18 people registered for this course, and we have about 7 people currently online. So I'm still a bit not sure whether we should move on or whether we should wait a bit. I'd love to keep to time because 6 on the dot, wherever we are, we're going to defer or adjourn till tomorrow. So I'm looking at my clock. I was hoping to give just 5 minutes space. It is 4:06 now. So I would like you to help me with the decision, if you don't mind. Should we wait for another 4 minutes? Okay, so Vivian says we should move on. Okay, can we have someone second that? If you think we should proceed, we will. If you think we should give 4 more minutes to start at 4:10, then that means we'll end at 6:10. Okay, fantastic. So let's proceed. Thank you for helping me out with that. Welcome to the Human Response Code. This is day 1 of 4 days. This session is being recorded, and everyone who is here will get the entire recording at the end of the 4th day, so that you're going to, take the whole package. We expect that everyone here would participate every single day of the next 4 days. The time is 4 to 6 p.m. every of these 4 days. And so welcome to the Human Response Code. By way of starting, please, I'd like you to introduce yourself in the chat room. Tell us your name, tell us what you do, tell us where you are based as quickly as possible. So quickly tell us who you are, tell us what you do, tell us where you are based, and tell us any other information you want us to have as quickly as possible in the chat room. My name is Sam Obafemi. I am the lead trainer in Thrc. We operate from the heart of Abuja, Federal Capital Territory in Nigeria, and we love to sell serenity, one mind at a time. So that's it from us. I represent my team. My team Chief Operating Officer is Stella. Chief Operating Officer under 30, Thrc under 30, our arm, targeted to those who are younger than 30 years. Chief Operating Officer is Tunde, and our utility officer is Kefas Musa. So that is it from my side. Who goes first? I'm waiting to see your introductions in the chat room. Let us know and meet you. Welcome to everyone I have seen online so far. Yeah, so I'm waiting for your introductions. Let's wrap that up in 120 seconds. In 2 minutes, let's wrap that up in 2 minutes. So I'm waiting to read your introduction. Who you are, what you do, where you're currently based. Let's get you to talk to us. Yes, waiting for you. Yes, waiting. Okay, I'm sure the introductions will pour in at the same time. So the first person here I have is Dr. Faith. I am Dr. Faith Obafemi, a vet doctor, a lecturer, a researcher, a life and career coach. I'm the convener of BFF, Boosts from Faith, a Facebook group, and the CEO of BFF Academy, also CEO of GOG Initiative. Thanks for coming on, Dr. Faith Obafemi. It's always a pleasure to have you on our programs and platforms. Kizito Okorowu, BSG admin. Yes, so Doyum. My name is Doyum Chiaga Satsa. I live in Abuja. I'm a pillow maker and a lover of people and a gist body. Yes. And an author. You forgot to add the author part. And an author too. Even Dr. Faith forgot to add the author part. Ha ha ha. I am Vivian Ikem. My name is Vivian Ikem. I'm a PR practitioner working currently with Nigerian breweries as head of government relations and based in Abuja. So good to meet your acquaintance. I am very happy to particularly meet you. Thank you for joining. Who else is here to introduce themselves? By my clock, it is exactly 4:10. In 2 minutes time, no, in 1 minute's time actually, in 1 more minute, I'm going to ignore all introductions. All these people just joining, they will not read their own introduction. I am Dorothy Hirse, a lawyer by training. I'm the salad queen. I live in Abuja. Yes, salad and detox drinks queen, based in Abuja. My name is Lois Ayuba. I am a teacher. Fantastic. Thank you so much, all the introducers. Thank you. I'm going to move on now because it is 4:11 and I really would not want to keep any more time wasting. So let's quickly move. This is what we'll be discussing for the next 4 weeks. For the next 4 days, I mean, beg your pardon. For the next 4 days, we will be talking about 4 distinct things. And they are going to be shapers of a lot of things for us. And I'm hoping by the grace of God that you're going to take all the notes you want. You're going to pay diligent attention to the conversations and you're going to do yourself good. So if you have a pen and a notebook, I want you to wave it to me if your video is on. And if your video is not on, I just want you to be sure you've got a pen and a notebook right beside you to write as much as you can in the course of the sessions today. Fantastic. I see you, Akim Binu. I see your notebook. Good. Who else wants to show me their notebook? I can see you, Bukola Lami, the entire mood. I can see your notebook. I see you, Doyum. Fantastic. Chini, I see you. And your notebook, beautiful. Lois Ayuba, I see you. And your notebook, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Who else has been showing me that I'm not seeing? Just in case. Vivian Inkem, I see you. Beautiful, sir. Good to see you. Great. So let's move. Let's move forward. So today, our conversation is strictly about who are you. Our conversation today is strictly about who are you. The question about who are you is one of the most common questions people get asked in the world. The number of people that get asked who they are is a very common question. And for every time you are asked that question, there are dimensions that are thrown open, dimensions. So I want to start by telling you, you are not one definition. You are a wide spectrum of definitions. You are not one tag. You are not one label. You are not one understanding. You are many things. But today we want to be able to establish who do you really think you are. And I want to use some tools this morning and some questioning styles to be able to get you to the point where you know who you really are. By the grace of God, over the years, I have evolved and I am very in tune with who I am. I'm very in tune with what I am. I'm very in tune with what I want. I'm very in tune with what I am looking for. And I'm hoping that this conversation today would provoke you to think about yourself, to acknowledge yourself, to appreciate yourself, and then to build your power by virtue of what you understand about yourself today. So this is one of the very interesting conversations I love to have. Now, I want to dive right into the tasks for the day. I was stylishly waiting for others to join up before I started the tasks for the day because I really would hate to repeat some things. But then, like we've said, we're recording this session, so anyone who comes late would have to depend on the recording. So please grab your notebooks now. We're diving straight into the tasks for today. But before I continue, tell me, are you curious? Are you happy? Are you What exactly is the name of the feeling you're having right now? Tell me the exact name of the feeling you have right now. I am curious. Who else is probably happy, anticipating? What is the name of the feeling? Give it a name. Tell me what you are feeling right now. What are you feeling right now? Let me hear the name of your emotion in 60 seconds. What are you feeling right now? What are you feeling right now? How do you feel? What are you feeling? Dorothy is feeling expectant. Yes. What else are you feeling? Who else? Bukola is anticipating. Nice. Romeo is exhilarated. Fantastic. Who else? I'll take 2 more and then we proceed. What are you feeling right now? Abiola is curious. What are you feeling right now? Who else? Who else? What are you feeling right now? What are you feeling right now? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Vivian is also feeling curious, and then Aisha is feeling indifferent. Anyhow it goes, she's fine. That is beautiful. So let's go. I want you to look at these charts. This is what we call the people repo. I want you to look at this chart, and I want you to look at the definitions in the chart. First and foremost, there is the core of this repo that says that is you, the nucleus of your person. After the nucleus of your person, there are rings, and the rings project outwards from the most close people to you to those that are not necessarily close to you. We call it the people repo. So my first task for you now is, please, I want you to, by order of intimacy, identify 5 people that are close to you. I want you to identify any 5 people that are close to you and write their names down. I want you to write person 1, write his name or the relationship you share. Even if you don't want to write the name, let's say you want to write name 1, staff, name 2, mom, name 3, son, something like that. Or if you want to use their name, anyone that works for you. Write the name of the person or what that person, how that person relates to you. Only 5 people for this exercise alone. Just 5 people will be okay for just this exercise. 5 people. If you have written that down, please write done. If you have written that down, please write done. If you have written the 5 names down, please write done in the chat room. If you have written those 5 names, let me know by writing done in the chat room. If you've written the 5 names, tell me done in the chat room. If you've written the 5 names, let me know by writing done in the chat room. Anyone yet? 5 names, any random 5 names. You don't have to be so, particular about any name, just any random 5 names. I really don't have up to 5 people. No, any random 5 names. It can be Coach Sam, it can be Diary of a Coach community, it can be your friend, it can be anyone. They don't have to be close, like anyone, any 5 people at all, randomly, any 5 people. So I have it done. Let me take 2 more done and we move. Any 5 people is fine. Fantastic. Now, I want you to ask yourself, for each of these 5 people, if they were to be asked who I am, what is one statement that this person can sum me up with? What is one statement? If each of these persons will sum me up in one statement, what would they likely say I am? And I want you to be very frank. Based on the perception they have of you, what would each of these 5 people say as a summarized impression of who you are? As a summarized perception of who you are? Write that down. Each of these 5 people, what would be their summarized perception of you? And be very honest. It doesn't have to be nice. It doesn't have to be true. It doesn't have to be untrue. It doesn't have to be palatable. It doesn't also have to be bad. But a summarized perception of you, what would each of these persons say about you? If you are done, tell me Finish. Don't write done, write finish. Gentle, but no, don't write it in the chat room. Write it in your jotter. So for each person, what will each one say about you? When you're done writing for each person, write finish. Write finish. Write finish. When you're done with that, fantastic. We have 3 people who have finished. I'll take 2 more and then I will proceed. 4th person has finished. Finish. Then we move on. Then the 5th has finished. Fantastic. Now I want you to look at the summary of these 5 perceptions that you have put down. What is the universal attributes you can draw from that? You can feel free to write that universal attribute in the chat room. When you look at these 5 perceptions that people have of you, what would be one central theme or central identity or central impression that they have about you? Write that in the chat room. Let us see it if you want. If you feel comfortable sharing that. So Bukola thinks most people think she's outspoken. Dr. Faye thinks most people think she's determined. Who else? Dr. Simeon thinks most people think she's trustworthy. Yeah, fantastic. Let's have more people. Dorothy, many people think she's strong. Yeah. One more feedback and we move. Gentle. Many people think Vivian is gentle. Now, these are the general impressions that we have. Doyum thinks, many people will say she's lively, carefree, noisemaker. It even shows in your words. We said 1 word, you said 3 words. So you're actually lively, carefree, noisemaker. Fantastic. So I want you to hold that thought. There is a slide we are coming to. We're going to use this feedback. So just hold that thought while we proceed. I want you to now do this assessment for me. I want you to, if you can, look at this assessment. This assessment is drawn from a course we call Neuro-Linguistics Program. And it's called the Internal Representations Assessment, where we are able to determine how we respond to situations and people and life. And so I'm going to be calling out, we're going to 5 different assessments of this nature. All you are required to do is to score each line as follows. Please listen to the instructions. We're going to have 5 different slides of this nature. There are 4 rows. There are 4 white rows. Can you see 4 white rows on your screen? There is a statement in black and then 4 rows. What you are required to do is to tick in order of priority from 1 to 4. And 4 means most likely. 2 means more likely. 3 means more likely. 2 means likely. 1 means least likely. I'll take it again. 4 means most likely. 3 means more likely. 2 means likely. 1 means least likely. Do you want to write those rules down? 4 means most likely. 3 means more likely. 2 means likely. And 1 means least likely. So this is how it's going to happen. When I read out the statement in black, that means when I read out the statement with a black background, you will look at the 4 options and pick which is most likely. You will write 4 in the box just beside it. There is a box on the left-hand side. Can you see the box? Just before the statement. So when I read out the statement in black background, you will score each of these 4 statements in 4, 3, 2, or 1. Where 4 means most likely, 3 means more likely, 2 means likely, and 1 means least likely. So the first statement, I make a choice based on whether it feels right, or if it sounds the best, or it looks like the best choice for me, or I review it and it fits my criteria. So I want you to score each of these 4 statements in order of priority between 4 and 1. Abiola, at what point did you lose my points, my statement, so I know where to start from? But we're doing an assessment where we're just about to start. You said what?
So the circles where you had me in the middle and with some others.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Okay, so let me quickly go back and summarize that slide so that we can have it. But moving forward, if any one of us experiences network problems, don't worry. You will just refer to the recording because so we're able to catch up with the time because I see the network is quite bad. Many people have been thrown out severally in the session so far. But let's go back to this slide. So here, the task we said here was write any 5 people randomly and then ask yourself, what is this person's impression of me or this person's perception of me? When you have written the perception of each person about you, you now find out what is the central perception across the 5. That gives us an impression what kind of personality you are likely to be. And then I said you would hold that thought. We will still use it later in the presentation. So write 5 names. Ask yourself what's the summarized impression each person has of you. Then what's the general impression all those 5 feedback give you. That gives you an impression who you are. Then the next slide, we're going to 5 slides of this nature. You don't need to draw the table. Let me see. If you can just follow my instruction, you don't need to draw the table. There are 5 tables, so you to take your time. So when I read the statement in black background, you will score the statements in white background in order of 1, 2, 3, or 4. So let me do my own personal example. Let's assume I say, for instance, I make a choice based on my own 4 will be I review and it fits my criteria. That's what my own 4 looks like. My own 3 is the first statement whether it feels right. That is my own 3. My own 2 is it looks like the best choice for me. That is my own 2. And then if it sounds the best is my own 1. That is my own personal adaptation, my own scoring. So your own now, what is number 4 to you? Which line is number 3 to you? Which line is number 2 for you? And which line is number 1 for you? When you are done scoring this slide, write done, and then I'll move to the next slide. There are 5 slides of this nature that we're going to be scoring. So when you're done with each slide, let me know when you are done. Then I will move to the next slide. Vivian is done. Lois is done. Sure Path is done. Sure Path, let me know your name. Who is Sure Path? I'd like to know your name. I think that sounds familiar. Who else is done?
Noel Alabisa.
Sorry, I didn't hear your name. Sorry.
It's Noel Alabisa.
Oh, Mega
Alabi.
Mega
Noel Alabi.
I know, no. Fantastic. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. More people are done with this slide. So let's go to the next slide. The next slide, and it's the same routine. So I don't need to repeat my explanation. It's the same routine. The next slide says, during a heated discussion, I am most likely to be influenced by, score it. Which statement is 4? Which statement is 3? Which statement is 2? Which statement is 1? When during a heated discussion, I am most likely to be influenced by which statement is 4, which statement is 3, which statement is 2, and which statement is 1. When you're done, write done. When you're done, write done. When you're done, write done. Tega is done. Dorothy is done. Fantastic. Reed is done. I'll take 2 more done and I move on. 2 more done and I move on. Dr. Simeon is done. Chini is done. Fantastic. Now let's go to the next question. It's the same procedure. We're going to 5. We've just finished number 2. Number 3 question. When I meet someone for the first time, I am most influenced by which one is 4, which one is 3, which one is 2, which one is 1 for you. When I meet someone for the first time, I am most influenced by what is 1 to you, what is 2 to you, what is 3 for you, and what is 4 for you. Score it. When you're done, write done. When you're done, write done. Fantastic. Buki is done. Shopat is done. Ritmo is done. Dr. Simeon is done. Fantastic. I like the speed. You guys are quite cerebral. Unasabi buko. Correct. So let's go to the next case. The next case says, I generally respond to which one is 4, which one is 3, which one is 2, and which one is 1. I generally respond to which one is 4, which one is 3, which one is 2, and which one is 1. I generally respond to which one is 4, 3, 2, 1. Four, three, two, one. Done. 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 I'll take 2 more. Done. Fantastic. Should I? So let me pause for another 30 seconds before we go to the last case. For another 30 seconds. Another 30 seconds. Before I go to the last case, let me go back to the first case so that I will just be sure you all have completed all the cases so far. So the first case says, I make a choice based on, you scored it 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll go to the next slide. The next slide said, during a heated discussion, I'm most likely to be influenced by 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll go to the next slide. The next slide said, when I meet someone for the first time, I'm most influenced by 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we went to the 4th slide, which said, I generally respond to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So let's now go to the last slide of this assessment. It says, when I like a proposal, when I like a pitch, when I like a product, when I like a speech, when I like a presentation, when I like something, I tend to say things like, which one is 4? Which one is 3? Which one is 2? And which one is 1 for you? When you hear something, when you like a proposal, you like a product, or you like a service, or you like something that has been said, I tend to say things like, which one is 4? Which one is 3? Which one is 2? Which one is 1? When you're done, write finish. Don't write done. Write finish. When you're done, write finish. Write finish. Fantastic. Fantastic. When I have 3 more finish, we are good. Fantastic. 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 Beautiful. Great. So let me quickly circle back to the beginning of these 5 slides and show you something. You have seen it, but it's going to form the basis for our assessment. But let me ask, so far, are we on the same page? Are you with me so far? We're digging deep into you right now. Are you with me so far? Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes, we are.
Thank you. So let us go back to the slides. So you can see on the right-hand side of this slide, there is K, there is A, there is V, there is AD. So based on the way you numbered your first slide, I want you to write this. Oh, Abiola says it's too fast for me. Okay, well, we have 2 hours to catch up with this. But I'll slow down moving forward. I'll slow down a bit for you. But let's see how we have a lot to cover this today. But don't worry, you can revisit the recording and replay, but I'll slow down a bit. Let's see how we're able to strike a balance. So based on how you wrote your numbers on this first slide, write the alphabets beside the numbers you wrote. So if, for instance, your first statement was 4, write K beside it. For statement 1, first line, 4K. If, let's say, the second line was 2A. If the third line was 3V, like that. For each number, according to this order, write the number beside it in this order. The way your numbers are arranged, that's the way the alphabets will be arranged beside it. Please make sure you don't mix them up. So let me explain. You don't understand? So let's assume, okay, fantastic. Akim Bino did what I was saying. So let's look at it this way. I'm going to write a set of numbers in the chat room. Just follow what I'm saying. Let us assume that my numbering, based on the slide we are seeing, is 1, 4, 3, and 2. No number must repeat itself. I hope you know that, right? Per slide. No number must repeat itself per slide. I hope you understand that already. Are you still with me? Is every other person with me so far? So my own numbers that I have entered is based on slide 1, this particular slide we are looking at. This is my arrangement, which means what I am saying here is that, hold on. What I am saying here is that I make a choice based on whether it feels right is least likely for me. If it sounds right, is most likely for me. That's why it is 4. If it looks like the best choice for me, which is 3, is more likely for me, and then I review it as it fits my criteria, is likely for me. That is why it is 2. Then I now said, for the numbers, the way you've arranged it, you will attach the alphabets beside it. So my new record will be 1K, 4A, 3V, and 2AD. That becomes your new result for the first slide. Is that understood now? Is anyone still confused? I'm ready to give you some more time to explain. Is anybody still confused? If you want me to repeat the explanation, kindly feel free. You are entitled to understand. I want to be sure we are all on the same page. Thanks for those that say we are fine. Repeat. Okay, so I'll take it one more time. You originally entered scores in order of 4, 3, 2, or 1, depending on what each statement meant to you. Based on my own example here, I have assumed some numbers. Remember, we said 4 means most likely. 3 means more likely. 2 means likely. 1 means least likely. I have now created suggested numbers here that says, for the first statement on this slide alone, the first statement is 1 to me, which means least likely. The second statement is 4 to me, which is most likely. The third statement is 3 to me, which is likely. The fourth statement is 2 to me, which is 3 is more likely, and then 2 is likely. But there are alphabets on the right-hand side of this slide, and each alphabet will be attached to whatever number you scored that line. So because I scored the first line 1, it means that my score for 1 is 1K, because that's the alphabet on the right-hand side of line 1. Because I scored my second line 4, the final answer to this second line is 4A, because that's the alphabet on the right-hand side of line 2. The number I have scored line 3 is 3. The alphabet on line 3 is V. So my final answer is 3V. The number I put on line 4 is 2. The alphabet on line 4 is AD. So my final answer is 2AD. Is that understood now? Perfect. So let's go to the next slide. The next slide says, just do the same thing. The alphabet on the line, just put it, attach it to the number you assign to that line. Simple. For case 2, the number you assign, just the way we did the first one now, assign the alphabet to the number. That's all. That's all you're doing. When you're done, say, I'm done. I'll go to the next one. Then you attach it again. Are we done? Bukola is done. Aisha is done.
Coach, can you let us see the second slide?
I'm on the second slide. This is the second slide. Can you see it now? Can you see it now? Hello?
Okay.
You're good?
I'll just...
Okay. So this is the second slide. Let me know when you're done so I can move to the third slide. Let me know when you're done so I can move to the third slide. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 dons. Let me have one more and then we move to the third slide. Fantastic. So we have done now. Beautiful. So let me go to the third slide. It's the same thing you're doing. Match the alphabet to the number for that row. That's all. Do it for
Sorry, Coach. Let me see. Sorry, Coach. Please let me see slide 2.
Slide 2. This is slide 2. This is slide 2 currently. Can you see it? Are we good? Let me know when to move forward. Can I go to slide 3 now? I'll move to slide 3 after the count of 3. Count down from 3. 3, 2, 1. So I'm moving to slide 3. This is slide 3 now. I'm now on slide 3. I'm now on slide 3. Attach the alphabet to the number you originally scored, slide 3. Attach the alphabets to the numbers you originally scored, slide 3. Let me know when you're done. Let me know when you're done. I'm going to take 5 done and then we move. 1 has dropped, so remaining 4. Let me know when you're done. Don't rush, yo. Don't rush. We'll try our best to keep to time, but don't rush. 2, 3, 2 more done and we move. Don't rush, but don't be too slow. So we have 3 done, 4. 1 more done and we move to slide 4. 1 more done and we move to slide 4. Just attach the alphabets to the numbers. Beautiful. So we have 5 done. I'm going to slide 4. Slide 4. This is slide 4. Attach the alphabets to the numbers you scored. Attach the alphabets to the numbers you scored. Slide 4. Let me know when you're done. Slide 4, only attach the alphabets to the numbers you scored. Buki is done. Tega is done. Fantastic. This was faster. One more done, and I move to the last slide. One more done, and I move to this last slide. Don't rush. Take your time, but don't be too slow. One more done, and I move to the next slide. One more done, and I move to the next slide. Anyone? Just attach the alphabets to the numbers. And then we move. One more done, and we move. Fantastic. Then the last slide, the same logic. Attach the alphabets to the numbers. Attach the alphabets to the numbers. Attach the alphabets.
Hello, coach, please, I have a question.
Okay.
Does it mean that K should be for 4?
No,
A
no,
should
no.
be for 3?
No. They are not the same. Oh. Each slide has its own arrangement. That's why I said attach the alphabet to the way you scored it, the order of the way you scored it. Let me go back so that you can see they are not the same arrangement. If you see, this is slide 1. Are you with me?
Yes.
I'm going to mute you
Yes.
because it's recording, but just listen. Okay, thank you. So this is slide 1. It starts with K. But if you see slide 2, it starts with A. If you see slide 3, it starts with V. They are not the same arrangements. So all you are doing is based on how you scored your lines, just simply attach the alphabets on the right-hand side per line. They are not the same arrangement, please. So you don't mix them up. So this is slide 1. The way you originally scored your statements in order of whether it's 1 or 2 or 4 or 3, just attach the alphabets beside it. So slide 1, slide 2, slide. So we're on slide 5.
Then, coach, I'm confused.
Okay, where are you confused?
I thought that, like she said, K will just be 1 all the way.
No.
A will be 2.
No.
So I was just looking for where A, K, and where go to where my 2 is and put.
No. Please focus on the slides. That's why I'm taking my time to explain. I said the alphabet on the right, just attach it to the number the way you scored it. Each slide is unique.
Oh, sorry. That means I have to go back to slide 2.
So I'm going back to slide 1 now. I'm currently on slide 1. Please, everybody listen to this. Each slide is unique by itself. There is no connection between slide 1 and slide 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Each slide is independent, please. The alphabets on the right-hand side are also arranged based on some metrics. They are independent by themselves. That is why I started off by saying, score the statements 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how they mean to you. Then you will just go back to the arrangement of the numbers you had and just attach the alphabets on the right to the numbers the way you arranged it originally. You don't need to rearrange anything. So are we good? Dr. Simeon,
just put this alphabet the way it is here by the numbers. I don't need to rearrange it.
That is all.
Oh, okay.
That is all. So whatever you scored line 1, the alphabet on line 1 becomes its attachment. Please, are we good? Dr. Faith, are you okay?
Let me give an example, coach.
Okay.
My slide 2,
yes,
right? The first one there, the person's tone of voice.
Yes.
All right, is my person's tone of voice.
What number
did you score? It's my 1. 1.
It's your 1. So yes, automatically that line is 1A.
Then, whether or not you can see the person's voice, I scored it 3.
That becomes 3V.
3V.
Yes.
You're still following the same thing now. Okay, 3V. And then the logic is 4.
That becomes 4 AD.
That's what I did now.
Uh-huh.
KVAD and A. 1342.
So are you okay now?
I'm okay. That means I'm okay.
Okay. So if you want us to review, everyone, if you want us to review from the first slide again, I'm ready to do so because it is imperative that you get this arrangement. Let me explain one more time. From slide 1, I said, when I read a statement in black background, you will rate each line on a basis of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. And 4 meaning most likely, 3 meaning more likely, 2 meaning likely, and 1 meaning least likely. Each slide is a unique slide, and you will score just based on the same, conditions. We did that first from slide 1 to 5. We now came back to slide 1 and said, the alphabet on the right-hand side, just attach it to the numbers the way you scored it originally. So if your numbering was 4213, just attach the alphabet 4K, 2A, 3, whatever, just the way you are. No need to rearrange anything. So I want to assume all of us are on the same page now. Are we? I need to see your comment in the chat room, so I'm sure we're together. Are we on the same page now? Are we fine? Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm relieved now. We can move on. Fantastic. Good. So you have scored slide 1. This is slide 2. This is slide 3. This is slide 4. I'm not sure we finished slide 5 before I went back. So look at slide 5 now and confirm that you have scored. You have attached your scores. The number per row, just attach it to the alphabet on its own row. Every row is unique. Every slide is unique. If you are done with this also, let me see done so I can move to the next slide. Let me see done. Beautiful. Once I count 5 done, I believe that we are done with this since anyway. Okay, thank you. So the next slide. Now you need to pay attention. Please, coach, we need to get the alphabets from slide 2. Wow. This is slide 2. Let me know when you are done with this slide so we can move. These are the alphabets from slide 2. The first line is A. Whatever number you put on the first line, add A to it. Whatever number you put on the second line, add V to it. Wow. Okay, this is 3. Okay. Slide 4, Romeo. This is 4. Let me know when you're done. Slide 4, Romeo, are you done? So I can go to 5. Okay. So this is slide 5. I believe all of us are fine with this slide. So I'm just going to move forward. So now, oh, sorry, I didn't attach the results slide. Hold on. Apologies. 1 minute, please. Okay, I'm back. Apologies for that break. So let's now go back. Can you all see me? Where are my people? I don't see anybody. Okay, I can see you now. So this is where we are now. I want you to now look at, so we had five slides. Each slide is a statement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You will now go back. For each statement, what did you score V? So for statement 1 to 5, sum up all the V. All the V you have, sum it up. All the A you have, sum it up. All the K you have, sum it up. All the AD you have, sum it up. What do I mean by sum it up? Add all the digits attached to each alphabet. So whatever you had for, Bukola is already done. This girl is on fire. So all the numbers attached to V, add the numbers up. All the numbers you had attached to A, add the numbers up. All the numbers you have attached to K, add the numbers up. All the numbers you have attached to AD, add the numbers up. Just like Bukola has done in the chat room, that's a very good representation. Let us have your results. I recognize some of you are seeing this for the first time, so we understand that it's taking a while for you to catch this, but it's a very, very beautiful tool to help you understand a part of you that you may not have recognized before now. So when you have your results, tell me done. You don't have to put the results in the chat room if you don't want, but if you have your results, tell me done. Tell me done. Fantastic. Good. So let us now explain what each of these personalities mean, these dimensions. In internal representation, according to neuroscience, and you've heard this many times before, some of us are visual people. We learn in pictures. And that is why you want to see things before you can make a decision. So visual people are people that think in pictures. As you're speaking with them, they have to imagine a pictorial version of what you are saying. If I come to you to say, okay, so we're talking about, the human response code. As you're imagining what you want to become in life, the only way you can interpret that imagination is if there is a physical example, if there's a picture you have in your mind that looks like what you are looking for, you are visual. Visual people think in pictures. That's why they will tell you, you hear statements like, I don't get it. The last slide we talked about, when you speak with words that sound like you're seeing things. Oh, I get, oh, I see. Oh, I don't get the picture. These are visual people. They think in terms of pictures. They think in terms of colors. They think in terms of places. They think in terms of images. That is how they interpret statements. So when you're trying to tell someone about a Muslim, what they think, they may have to create a picture of a person that is dressed or behaving like a Muslim that they have encountered before or that they have seen somewhere. That's the only way they can connect with your statement. Those are visual people. We call them V. The A people are auditory people. Auditory people are people that prefer to place calls rather than chats. There are people who are very particular about accent. They are easily turned off by when you make a grammatical error, when you speak, when you say things that are not in sync, or your syllables are not correct, or your accent. They remember things and interpret things in terms of accent and language and words. They are words kind of people. They are auditory. And then we have that's the A. Auditory is A. Visual is V. The K people are kinesthetic. We call them kinesthetic because they are feelers. They are people who want to do things themselves. They interpret things or understand things when they have to practice it, when they have to do it. They are the kinds that they like to hug, they like to hold, they like to touch. They are kinesthetic people. So what that means is when you are relating with a kinesthetic person, or if you are a kinesthetic person, one of the ways you can emerge and become better at what you do is to do things yourself, is to try out stuff yourself, to exercise better in the activities you want. And you are the kind of people that prefer physical meetings because you want to feel a particular energy. You want to feel a particular vibe about it. So when you're looking forward to seeing a person, you are more excited because it's not a phone thing, it's not a video call, it's a physical meeting. Those are kinesthetic people. Now the AD is called digital. We also call it audio digital. AD means audio digital, but the generic name is digital. A digital person is a combination of several persons, either the visual and auditory, visual and kinesthetic, auditory or kinesthetic. These people have to sit down first, process what they have heard or seen or felt, and then check if they actually connect with it. They are the slowest to decide. So many of you have told me, I am afraid. Many of you have told me, I have fear of doing what I'm doing. Many of you have told me, I want to be sure that what I'm doing, somebody will not laugh at it. Some of you have told me, I don't want to put my private things in public. All that is showing signs that you have strong digital behavior because you are trying to create a conviction. If you are not convinced, you will not do it. Those are digital people. So that is how these things play out. Now, why did we do this assessment? We are all of these personality types, but there is, just like you have done several personality assessments, there's usually that primary dimension that you are, and then the secondary dimension and the tertiary dimension that you are. So the number that, where the dimension you score the highest is your most primary or your most probable primary dimension, which means you are likely to be primarily visual or primarily kinesthetic or primarily digital or primarily audio. And these are the personalities. So tonight, I'm going to email to all of you a document that helps to explain the narratives around what you have done as an assessment. But beyond that, I want you to go to I would like you to use Google and also read a little more about the personality that you have found. Am I frozen to anyone now? I think it timed out for a few seconds, but I believe it has normalized now. Are we good now? Okay, for a few seconds, yes, it did. But don't worry, the network, we are recording everything. So don't worry about the network behaviors. We can't do anything about that, but we will be fine. So I'm going to send a mail to all of you with a document that further breaks down these dimensions. But like I said, you can also use Google to find out, okay, this result says I am K, kinesthetic. Go and read more about kinesthetic behavior. This result says I am A, auditory. Go and read more about auditory behavior. Because the more you know your kind of person, the more you are inspired to become anything you want to become. I have found that I am primarily digital, and my secondary is visual. Then I am kinesthetic. My last is auditory. I always struggle with calls, always. So I've realized that area and I don't stress myself anymore. I'm primarily digital. So it means that I take my time I process things as it's happening. I process things as it's happening. I want to be able to feel a connection, feel a conviction. Once I'm convinced about anything, no demon can stop me. Nobody. So what that means is I take time to decide, but once I have decided, I'm good. But my decision is aided by visual because I'm secondarily visual. I work based on the things I see. I work based on the visuals that I experience. So that is how I have found my strength. I hope this has made some sense to you because this is very, very important. Okay, so Bukola says, but coach, does these things change with time? and as we explore more self-development, well, this is very arguable. What we know is that more people become digital over time because of life's experiences. As people age, you hear things like, okay, so some people in their younger age may be very impulsive. When they hear something, they just take off. When they see something, they just take off. But as they're growing older, they now learn to pause. Guess what? It is not that their dimensions changed. It's just that their improved thinking helps them to pause, to create a decision. But guess what? Many times, the original decision they took when they were visual, they will still do it even when they delay. So it's a conscious pause, but it doesn't change their decision. I've seen that play out in many cases. An impulsive person will always be impulsive. It's just that when they will do it, they will delay. So over time, life has taught a lot of people lessons where they seem to drift into digital, but their original nature is there. That visual decision is still what is driving them, but because they now need to weigh options, maybe because of costly mistakes they've made in the past, maybe because they need to. So sometimes you hear some people say, before I write my post and share it, I will give someone else to read it first. When somebody else has read it and checked the corrections, then I will post it. Guess what? It was not them that was digital. Their visual is still intact. They had to borrow someone else's strength to be able to protect themselves from making the mistakes that their visual has been making for them. That's why some people that are auditory, once you place that call, they make a decision. But they may likely run it by someone else. So these are things that happen. That's why in neuroscience, we don't believe people change. We believe people improve their perception or their decision-making process. Your nature stays. Your decision process will just improve. That's how we think. So, Noel says, sir, I have a tie on V and A. It's very okay. If you have a tie, it means that it's a decision process. Remember, the internal representation is a decision-making process, which means different situations would probably trigger a different decision-making process at that particular time. Dr. Simeon says, can someone be auditory and kinesthetic at the same time? We are all four. All of us are the four. I told you my own dimension. Let me write my own, what's the word, sequence. This is my own sequence. My sequence is AD to V to K to A. This is my sequence. Write your sequence for us. Let us see. Based on what you know now, even though it may be limited information at this moment, since you are just knowing this, write your sequence. We are all four, but we are in a sequence from strong to weak. Remember, 4 is most likely, 1 is least likely. I am least likely auditory. I'm most likely audio digital. I am most likely digital. I'm least likely audio. That is what this means. Oh, Chini and I are the same dimensions. Fantastic. Nice. Who else? Dorothy, you have 2 Ks, or you have to correct it. They can't have 2 Ks. Dr. Faith, visual, audio, and digital tie, then K. Nice. Digital VKA. Oh, wow. Bukola is my tie. Fantastic. Dorothy says my last is a V. So that brings us to ADKAV. Nice. Interesting. VADK. Wow. 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 No wonder Do-Yoon's book is very colorful. Can you see? Do-Yoon wears a lot of colors. This is just showing why. Fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to move on to the next slide because of our time. We have spent exactly 1 hour, 5 minutes so far out of 2 hours. So I'm going to move forward. But like I said, please go and do a bit of study on this subject matter. Now, before I continue, this course is actually one of our certifications in SOPCA. And if we were in the certification class, this particular module, you would have gone to write your personal essay on it to be submitted and scored. If not, you'll be penalized. But because this is just a training, we will let it fly. which means I hold you responsible to trying your own research by yourself instead of taking it back from you to score you or rate you. So please don't just throw this away. Go and do more research about your personality dimension. The next is the very popular personality type. I will not spend any time here. I will not spend any time here, but I would leave with you a website that I would expect all of you to go and take a test tonight, especially those that have not taken it in the last 90 days. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not visited any personality assessment profiling in the last 90 days, please do this assessment. You will agree with me that the COVID-19 crisis has impacted on you. Will you agree with me? The COVID-19 crisis has impacted on all of us, whether it's mentally, emotionally, socially, financially, whatever you call it. What this means is every 90 days, there is a tendency that something has changed about you. So don't say, but I've done this assessment 100 times since I was born. Provided you have not done it within the last 90 days, please, I want you to do this. Now, when we come tomorrow for day 2, we are starting on this note. We're going to start this personality assessment tomorrow. Everybody will tell us their personality type. Now, I want you to write this down. That's your assignment for tonight. You're going to tell us your personality type based on this, the result from these websites. That's question number 1. Number 2, what does this personality type say about you as your strengths? Number 2. Number 1, what is your personality type? Number 2. Number 2, what are the strengths that this personality says about you? I'm repeating the questions, the instructions. Number 1, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. It's freezing, sorry. Okay, so let me repeat it, but can you hear me right now? Okay, so let me type the instructions here. 1, what is your personality type? Am I still frozen? Wow. How many of you can hear me now? Most of them say they can't hear me. Okay, it's back.
I hear you now.
Okay, it's back. Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Okay, thank you. So I had typed the first question. If you just scroll up, let me repost it. I'll just repost the first question. So thanks for the feedback. That's the first question. Second question, what are the strengths of your personality based on the results you will get? Then 3, what are the areas of improvements for your personality? So three questions I would like you to deliberate on that will influence our conversation tomorrow. But before we continue, I want to highlight a point to you guys. Sometimes you ask some people to do personality assessment and they say, there are some parts of that assessment I've never experienced. There are some parts that are not true about me. I want to address that question, that kind of question now. Because we evolve over time, there are some things we may not have experienced now. But research has shown that people of our type, in a lifetime would experience it. So there are some things about your personality you may never experience in a lifetime, but that doesn't mean that your personality type doesn't experience it. So many times we tell people, as you are evolving, some experiences about your personality will begin to become true, even though at some point in your past, it was false. And that's why I want you to take note. So when you go reading about this personality, don't start Xing out those things that you have not experienced, because you need to pay conscious attention that they may happen in the course of your evolution. And then this is very important. So your personality, when you read it, is going to form the basis of our conversations tomorrow, because I need to work with you on how do I now embrace that personality and make it my best case. A typical example, I am very introverted. I love my space. To an extrovert or to a very social person, I may have a weakness. But to us, the introverts, it is a big asset. Until I embrace the uniqueness of my personality, I may actually think I'm a weak link. That's why embracing your personality and always searching out for the dimensions of your personality is very important. If you are visual and you are connecting to an auditory person, there will be tension because both of you are in two different quadrants. So you need to understand what your dimension is and what your personality is, so that when you're relating with someone in a different dimension and personality, you are not feeling less and you're not feeling more important than the other dimension and personality. This is very important. No personality is better than the other. No dimension is better than the other. That you are a social fly or social bee or social butterfly does not make the reticent phlegmatic less important in any context. So it is embracing these differences that matter very important and very much in our evolution. So I'm going to leave this slide because it's going to be an assignment for all of us. And later in this slide, I'm also going to share a task that relates to this assignment. So let's go to the next slide. Now, I want to ask you very tough questions, and I want you to be very frank with me. Please be very honest. Now that, earlier I told you, let me go back to that slide. Earlier on this slide, I told you to write the names of any 5 random people, or any random 5 people, not random people, any random 5 people. And I asked you, what's the summary of their perception of you? And you wrote it down. And I asked you, what is the universal perception from the 5 perceptions that they have of you? And some of you wrote, diligent, social, strong, etc., etc. And I told you to mark it. Now, let's come to this slide. On a scale of 1 to 10, how correct is that universal impression of you based on your own personal assessment of yourself? The image here, I tried to find an image that says the balance between your brain and your heart. And what I'm trying to say here is, without sentiment, please don't be nice to yourself. Don't be sentimental. Don't try to paint a picture. On a scale of 1 to 10, how correct is that impression that we generated earlier? I just want you to write a figure. On a scale of 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, how accurate? Doyum is 10, Abiola is 9, Bukola is 7. Fantastic. 7, 8, 9, 8. Nice. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. So the next question I'm going to ask you is, if you were to write about yourself, what would you write a statement about yourself. Write like we call it the mission statement or the creed. Who is you? Who is Buki? Who is Doyum? Who is Dr. Simeon? Who is Chini? If you were to write a statement about yourself, what would be a true statement about you? No sentiments. What would be that statement? No sentiment. What would be that statement? As you currently are, who are you? As you currently are, who are you? Abiola is a truthful, purpose-driven, jolly good fellow. Okay. Who else? We'll take just 5 before we proceed. Dr. Simeon is that person that makes concerted efforts to be seen as responsible and a perfect gentleman. Crazy, good. Akim Binu Yemisi, I'm a passionate person who does not take a no for an answer for what I believe. Though I'm a carefree and almost careless person who is working on correcting myself. Interesting. Who else? Bukola is a happy-go-lucky, passionate, intelligent girl. Say now girl, mother of 3 teenagers. God will help you. Chini says, I'm outspoken, disciplined, and diligent. I love that. Fantastic. So let me go to the next question. The first question here is, who are you? Who do you really think you are? Like all things being equal, without sentiment, who are you? The next question says, if you look 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 25 years from now, who do you desire to be? Who do you desire to be? Who do you desire to be? I want you to, I know there is a lot you may desire to be, but what is the summary of what you desire to be? Write it in the chat room. What's the summary of what you desire to be? Balatito is, I'm a kind-hearted and realistic person. Fantastic. So who do you desire to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now? Who do you desire to be? From where you are now, where do you desire to go? Where do you desire to be? Let's talk about it. Who do you desire to be? Who do you desire to be? As you're writing this in the chat room, take time to also write it in your jotters so that you can reference it later, especially when you're going through the video I'm going to send to you. Who do you desire to be? Who do you desire to be? To own my truth and not conform to external pressure. Fantastic. Impactful, successful, happy woman, a matriarch. I love that word. I desire to be more effective and fearless in pursuing and living the life of my dreams. I love that. I desire to be a rock who people can run to and be secure in myself. I love that. I want to be a world changer, powerful and successful. I love that. I desire to be more dogged and more purposeful in my business transactions. I desire a better version of me now with excellent results in my pursuit. Fantastic. One of the things I desire to evolve into a person, like right now, I love that I'm able to help a lot of people, but it's draining my energy. I'm an introvert. I just want to sit in my house. So I desire to become more comfortable so that while I don't need to see anybody, I can be providing the support that everybody needs. I don't need to be personally involved. That's where I want to reach. So we all have that version we want to become. Bukola says, I want to be the go-to person, a force to reckon with, creating relatable solutions for emotional wellness. Tega says, I desire to be a diligent, disciplined, kind-hearted influencer. Fantastic. Chini says, I wish to become a wholesome fellow, known to bring serenity to souls and stabilized. Fantastic. Vivian says, I desire to be able to make positive impact in society. Beautiful. So these are powerful prayers that we have thrown up. The next question I want to ask you is, what is the gap between who you are and who you desire to be? What is the gap? What do you think is currently the gap between who you are and who you desire to be? That's the next question I want you to answer. Bukola says structure. Who else? What is the gap between who you are and who you desire to be? What's the gap? Bukola says structure. Who else? Abiola says practice, mastery. Who else? Dr. Faye says capacity and content. Who else? Chini says adequate knowledge and competence. Fantastic. Dr. Simeon says information. Tega says time and mastery. Do-Yun says defining myself and more knowledge. Yemisi says I desire to be a fulfilled and great influencer in my field of endeavor. What is the gap between who you are now and who you desire to be? One more feedback and I move to the next slide. One more feedback. The gap. I'm hoping you are writing these things in your jotters, please. Noel says structure and less analyzing. Bolatito says structure. Fantastic. I like these answers I'm getting. There is always a gap. Even one of the things that I know is my gap is reinforcing my structure. I need new skill sets and I need to reinforce my structure to be able to get to the level I want to get to. I want to be accessible to fewer people. That is my dream being. I want to be accessible to only a few people, really. My energy is drained every day. I just want to have so much availability in other forms. So I like all I am seeing. The next question, are we together so far? Are we together so far? I hope you've been writing this in your jotters, so you're not just writing on Zoom alone. Noah says structure, new skills, and less analysis paralysis. Are we together so far? Has it been helping you so far? Romeo says time, structure, and mastery. Fantastic. Okay, I want to go to the next question, but I want to be sure that so far it has been making sense to you. Are we together so far? Today has been a very technical class. Today is like a competence training. It's a technical class. So, perfect. Thank you for that feedback. So the next question I'm going to ask you is, what steps must you take from today? Now that you know the gap, what is the first step you should take? What are the steps you think you should take? You don't have to write it in the chat room if you want. I think this should go into your jotter. Maybe you should write the first 3 steps, since it may be a long process. Write the first 3 steps you should take. And when you're done writing it in your jotter, tell me, I'm done. I'm done. Viola says growth mindset. That's a step she must take. What steps must you take from today? Bukola says, I'm done. When you're done writing it in your jotter, write, I'm done. What steps must you take? 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 I'm done. I'll take 2 more, I'm done. 1 more, I'm done. And then we move. 1 more, I'm done. And then we move. Write the steps you must take. Write the steps you must take. I'm done. Fantastic. Let me move to the next slide. The next slide says, I now broke down the what steps you must take. I've broken it down further into the following categories. Number one, now you don't have to answer this. I think you should write these questions because I want you to ruminate on these questions overnight and moving forward. Let me tell you some of the things that have helped me as a person. These questions are constantly in my consciousness. It guides my decisions when I'm trying to scale up or when I'm trying to get things done. Number one, I ask myself, who can do this thing that I'm trying to do? Number one, who do I need to know? Who do I need to connect with? Who do I need to work with? Who do I need to relate with? When I started soccer, I knew I needed a strong operations person because I am too compromising, I'm too soft. I needed someone that can come across as tough. And God sent Stella. I was very, very proud and happy to encounter her. Until today, it has shown in the system that she's a powerhouse. When I started BSG, because the soccer team were overwhelmed, I needed someone. God sent Kizito. And I just have been cruising. So you need to understand the who that you need that can help you get the desired outcome you want to have. You must find a who. It may not be a staff. It may not be a partner. It could be a friend. It could be an acquaintance. It could be a mentor. It could be a role model. It could be a subordinate. It could be a superior, anything. Provided you have a relationship that you can leverage on, find who. Number two, what books or resources should you read or consume? What books or resources should you read or consume? They could be audiobooks, they could be newsletters, they could be Instagram handles, they could be social media handles, even Twitter or Facebook. You need a pool of resources where you're always drawing inspiration from, drawing motivation from. A typical example, one of the laws I learned from Robin Sharma. One of the rules I learned from Robin Sharma is you cannot say you are operating in an industry that you desire and you don't have at least 7 big players that you follow in that same industry. You're not going anywhere. If you play in an industry, you should find at least between 3 to 7 big players. When we say big players, like global players, that you are constantly studying what they do, observing how they do it, reading their books, checking out their online activities, following their work. You can't be working solo and say you are led by the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit will lead you to men and women that are ahead of you, because that's how you naturally know that you're not alone in a journey. So one of my assignments to you today, if you really want to break away from your fear, if you really want to break away from your limitation, if you really want to break away from your misunderstanding, if you really want to break away from your limiting beliefs, look for at least 3 people that are global players in the industry you want to play. You don't need to contact them. I'm not saying send them mail, call them. It's not mandatory. In fact, sometimes they will not even answer you. They are too busy. But just following their work diligently is enough fire in your bones. So I want you today, start looking for at least 3 to 7 global players. I have said this many times. There are 3 people that I follow back to back. Tony Robbins, Robin Sharma, and Ali Baba, the comedian from Nigeria. These 3 people, among other people that I'm seeing from a distance. But you see these 3 people, every single day, I'm checking out what are they doing, what are they doing, what are they doing, what are they doing. So when I'm consistently driven, there are sources I'm pulling strength from. I want to say one statement before I forget. Don't depend on your strength on this journey. You want to write that down. Don't depend on your strength for this journey. Don't depend on your strength, whether it's on this journey or for this journey, you know the English language. Just don't depend on your strength to think you can make it. You need the strength from the people that are ahead. So if you have 3 people to 7 people who are global players, it spurs in you the possibility mindset. I beg of you, please don't take that for granted. So that's for point number 2. Point number 3, what associations do you need? There are associations you should remove yourself from. There are associations you should connect yourself to. When you join an association, and when I say association, I'm not necessarily talking about Nigerian Association or something. I'm talking about any cluster or any group or any seemingly organized body. It can be local, it can be global or international. It doesn't matter. Associate yourself with a group or a cluster or a people who have a semblance of organization and direction. So please pay attention to that. The people or the groups and clusters you associate with will determine your trajectory. This is very, very key. Way back, since 2014-15, I have been an active, interested member of the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, because I've always wanted to be an outstanding life coach. I'm a licensed life coach. I'm not just coach. I'm licensed from the UK. But I didn't just want to be just a coach. I wanted to be in line with trends. I wanted to understand the practice at the global level. So from way back, I've been a LinkedIn active member, I've been a Facebook active member, and I've been a database active member of the ICF, International Coaching Federation. So even in LCAN today, the Life Coaches Association of Nigeria, they look up to me for some dimensions of understanding to coaching. Why? Because I attached myself to a global organization of coaching. That is how to aspire for big things. So please, if you noticed, Innocent Usa joined the, I don't know the right word now, I think Association of NLP Practitioners in the world, or so there's a way they call it. That was the right direction to go. So you need to consciously attach yourself to a global association or a local association that is serious, not just for formality, but for the sake of the fact that you want to grow. I have said this many times. Why we are afraid of launching out is because we think that by our own strength and knowledge we can do it. That's a lie. We can't. None of us by our strength and knowledge can do everything. So don't depend on I get brain, I'm cerebral, I'm well read, I am exposed, I'm social, people like me, I like people. Those are ingredients. They are not bad by themselves. But you need a pull. You need a structure that drives you, that takes you up. It's very, very important. Am I making any sense to you so far? I just want to be sure we're together.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Fantastic. So let me go to the next point. The next point is, what places should you go? What places should you go? Some months ago, I offended some people. I told one person, I said, you need to leave your church because your church is why you are not growing. It became a problem, but I'm not apologetic about it. It looks like the association thing, but the truth is that there are some places you should not find yourself. You know why? There is what we call corporate grace, and there's also what we call corporate curse. There's what we call corporate grace and corporate curse. The places you carry your leg and enter has a huge capacity to affect you, whether you accept it or you don't accept it. That's the way it works. So there is a spirit of fear that is transmitted in a place where the leader is fearful. There's a spirit of speed that is cascaded down where the leader has speed, or where the owner, there is a spirit of the owner in any environment. So if you are serious about taking your life back, if you are serious about breaking away from jinx, from limitations, from limiting beliefs, you need to be careful where you carry your legs to. John Maxwell says there is a law of the lead, that the follower can never go beyond the lead of the leader, the cover of the leader, and it has significant sense. So you need to x-ray your movements it is better to stay in your house than to be perambulating places where you're going to attract wrong spirits. I want to remind you, this course is called the Human Response Code. And this course, today's session is trying to unveil the realities of our personality. Your personality is your compass. Your personality is your compass. It is a strong signal how your life should be lived. And if you refuse to respect and acknowledge your compass, you'll be living based on another person's terms and references. That is why you find yourself in assemblies and gatherings where you don't connect, but because of someone else, you are there. And my friend is going, I just want to follow her. But my husband likes going to, what do they call it, viewing center. Let it not be like I'm the wife that doesn't support football, let me go. Okay. Sometimes you need to renegotiate your compass because your personality is your compass. That's why we started by doing the profiling and we went into the personality thing, because the more you associate with your personality, the more you know the direction of your compass. Then you begin to pick resources and people based on your profiling. As simple as picking a book is, your compass will lead you. There are some books I don't read, not because they are bad, but because I know I won't read it. Maybe the print is too big or too small, the way it's not spaced. Your personality directs you in a lot of things. Your personality tells you the kinds of environment you like, the kinds of relationships you thrive on, the kinds of resources you prefer. You know, earlier we talked about visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Do you know that a visual person cannot do well with audiobooks? Are you aware? A kinesthetic person, depending on who is talking in the audiobook, may enjoy it, may not enjoy it. A kinesthetic person will probably enjoy a book that has a video and an audio because they want a full experience. But the visual person will do well with paperback book. So if you don't understand some of these simple, they seem very, very simple. But they are not simple. Nothing created by God is that simple. Everything is complex. So if you don't understand some of these modalities, you are buying audiobook, but you're a visual person, you know, so I don't understand. I spend so much money buying resources, but I'm not enjoying it. You need to pay attention to these things. So let me go to the next slide because we have just about 17 minutes to go. The next slide. The next slide is no slide. So there is a dimension I did not discuss today on day one, which is usually limited to our certification course. And that is what we call the errand experience. The experience where it helps you understand the purpose behind your conception, the purpose behind your birth, and then the translation through your death. It's a very pragmatic graph that is usually very, very, scary for some people to listen. But that is one dimension that I'm going to hope you can all participate in when we sign up for the certification. But let me round up today's session by saying, your personality is your compass. When you go back home today, please do the assessment on your personality and begin to ask yourself the questions around whom you've been with, where you have been, your associations, your resources. How divergent are these between who you are and who you want to be? How divergent are these between who you are and what your personality is? Then I also want you to pay attention to who you currently are and who you desire to be and what are the gaps. Because our goal in these 4 days is to close those gaps. We need to be able to close those gaps. Tomorrow when we come, we're going to be talking about what we call neuroplasticity. It's a dimension or is a study in neuroscience that says our brain is able to learn a new way of life and make it normal. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about how to prune the things that are not helping your life and how to add the things that will start helping your life and the process of making the new normal become normal. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. So when you do your assessment of your personality, we're going to be excavating your strengths and your weaknesses or your areas of improvement. How do we convert areas of improvement into non-threatening areas? How do we reinforce your strength? How do we prune out people, prune out events from your life, and then begin to imbibe new habits and create a neural path for them so that they become normal and they are not difficult to adhere to? That's the conversation we're having tomorrow. Like we said at the beginning, today is who are you? Tomorrow is neuroplasticity, expanding your brain. I'm on this slide now where our modules are. Tomorrow is neuroplasticity, expanding your brain. Day 3 is expectation management. How do I manage my desire to evolve into what I want to become? Because some of the problem you would encounter is you wish that you would change into whom you want to become in 1 week. You wish that you will become whom you want to become in 1 year. We need to develop an expectation management process so that as you are creating that transition from who you are to whom you want to be, we're able to manage your expectation so you don't self-sabotage. And then number 4, we're going to now unleash you to go and deliver what you said you have become. These are the 4 days that we're going to be sharing. And this brings us to the close of day 1. So we're going to take a few questions. We still have a few more minutes to the end of today. Chini says, I did not quite get the assignment. My internet threw me out severally. So the assignment, number 1 is you go to, let me copy. I hope it's not so far off. If somebody reaches it before me, help me copy and paste. Let me scroll up. There's somewhere I wrote it. Okay, I found it. So number 1, you go to 16personalities.com. Looking for, okay, I found it. 16personalities.com. When you go to this site, then you will do the following assignment. You will identify what your personality type is, what the strengths of that personality type are, and then what are the areas of improvement for that personality type. These are the 3 assignments. Number 1, when you go to 16personalities.com, you do the test on this site. Thank you, Bukola. You do the test on this site. It will tell you, it will show you your personality type. Write out the personality type. There are about 7 pages of description for each personality type. Go through each page and identify what are the strengths of this personality, what are the weaknesses or areas of improvement of this personality. That was assignment number 1, which we're going to build on tomorrow. And then I want you to, let me add question number 4. Review the gaps identified today and answer the questions on who, what, etc. that we asked. So let me go back to that slide where I asked those questions. Yes, Doyum, 16personalities.com. So this slide is your number 4 assignment. You're going to review your gaps, and then answer these questions, because these are the questions that will help you close the gaps we have identified. Maybe you want to take a screenshot of this slide. That would help you if you want. You know, that may help you if you want. A screenshot of this would be fine. So I'm going to send an email of the internal representative. No, I'm not even going to send an email. I want you to Google it. I'm not going to give you the document. Google the visual, auditory, kinesthetic, digital. Go and Google more about it and read more about it for your consumption. But these are the only things we'll discuss tomorrow: the personality assessment and how you're able to establish the gaps, narrow your gaps by answering these questions. Those are the things we're going to do tomorrow. The recording of this training and the slides from this training will be sent to you after Thursday's session. After 6 p.m. on Thursday, we're going to send everything to everyone in a single link, one link with the folder. There's going to be a folder where we're going to drop everything, and then we'll send you one single link where you have access to the folder, download all the videos and the slides and any other resources we're going to attach to the document, and you will be very, very happy to have attended this course. So that's the close of today's session. I would like to take, we have 9 minutes to go. If you have a question you would like to ask, please ask the question and we can take it before we go today. Thank you so much for being a part of today's class. It's been rewarding. It's been rewarding for me, and I hope it has been so for you also. By the way, we're not admitting anybody for the rest of the week. So in case you go talking about this program and somebody says, oh, I want to join, how can I join? We are not admitting anybody. We are very happy with this class size. We are not adding one person to this class. Let them wait until whenever we do it again. So, well, thank you so much for being a part of day one. I hope day one meant something to you. I hope day one meant something to you. Tomorrow, we're going to be bombarding your brain. We want to expand your brain. Tomorrow, we're going to be telling you that your brain can actually grow. There is nothing you are faced in this life that your brain cannot prune out, and there's nothing you want that your brain cannot develop. Your brain, in fact, neuroplasticity is a study that says your brain can fix your body. It's a very beautiful science of our nature that says no matter how your body has been bastardized, whether by trauma or by bad experiences or by happiness or by loss or by whatever, your brain can recreate itself and recreate your body. That is what we're going to be going into tomorrow. Neuroplasticity is a powerful philosophy, and I'm very happy to bring it to us tomorrow, so that when we go into that dimension tomorrow, you realize that all the excuses you've given yourself, like, I've wasted time, I'm 40-something, I'm 50-something, I can't, it's late, I can't do anything, is a lie. The brain has the capacity to recreate its experiences as it wants. So tomorrow is that day to talk about neuroplasticity, how the brain can expand itself and create what it wants. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate that you could join today. We love you so much from Thrc. Don't forget to be on time tomorrow. The class starts 4:44. The link goes live 3:45. We always go live 15 minutes to time. So don't wait until 4 o'clock to start joining, just in case there are network challenges or technical issues. If you join on time, you're able to resolve whatever the connectivity challenges are, and then it is easier to partake. So please kindly be punctual tomorrow.